You're watching once again a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. I'm Scott Veach. I'm your host, and on this program we'll be discussing topics of interest for caregivers of loved ones with dementia. We hope that you will subscribe to the channel and you'll hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new program. And now, this is Once Again. Our guest today is Carol Taylor. She is a licensed clinical social worker from Jackson, Wyoming, also a member of the Wyoming Dementia Together support team, as I am. I hope you caught part one of our conversation. It was posted a couple of weeks prior to this one, and we've been talking about a program that she and I actually tag teamed on as a presentation for Wyoming Dementia Together calls. This was back in February of 2024. We're kind of following up on that because we wanted to take a moment and offer support to all the care partners out there and encourage them in the journey that they are actually doing a much better job than what they think they are. And you can go back and take a look at that episode. It has already been posted. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more personal, in that we're going to be talking about her husband Bob and my wife Mona, both of whom passed several years ago, and talking about our care partner journey as well. One of the things I want to do as we open the program is give you a quote that we had in our program back in February of 2024. It's from Angelita Lim, and she said, "I saw that you were perfect, and so I loved you. Then I saw that you were not perfect, and I loved you even more." Carol, thanks for being with us. That sums it up pretty doggone well, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It brings tears to my eyes every time
Yeah.
I hear you read that. Yeah. And our presentation actually was on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And it was quite something preparing for it. Both Scott and I, were reliving a lot of memories. We titled the presentation "The Healing Power of Recollection." And this does not negate what you're going through right now. That's not meant to do that, but it allows you to focus a bit on some of the memories, the recollections that were joyful, and to make sure that we are sure to give that equal airtime as best we can in our care partnering journey, and remembering the fun times. And we had some great feedback from that session where people said it was really helpful to be reminded to think about some of those times gone by.
We don't have the photo of Bob that Carol provided for the program that we had back in February of 2024, but I remember it very well. He was wearing a bright red hat and I think a red vest. What was behind that?
So Bob was the conductor of the Jackson Hole Chorale, not the rodeo, the singing group.
Yeah.
And he was a professional musician, performed as a professional tenor doing oratorio in New York City, and was Dean of Humanities for several different universities. But during the Christmas season, Bob would always wear his bright red Stetson with a red cavalcade scarf. And it was just Bob. That's what everyone looked for in town, and for weeks before Christmas and maybe a couple weeks after Christmas. And so the question that we were addressing is, what makes your relationship unique? And I said, well, this is what makes Bob unique. And Scott's going to talk more about relationship, but it just kind of encapsulates who Bob was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little about him. I mean, you talked about him professionally, and
Yeah.
he sounds like such an open, wonderful, easy to get to know guy.
He was very easy to get to know. He was incredibly passionate about music. I mean, over over the top about music. He had many, many, many private students. He taught every single instrument.
Wow.
We had a friend that lives in on a ranch way north of us, and she called one day and said, "Would Bob teach Elliot the tin whistle?" I said, "You bet he will. He'll teach anything." So anyway, yeah, and he was very, very committed to breaking the myth that people believe that somewhere along the line someone told them or intimated that they couldn't sing. And I've
Yeah.
known Bob to go back all the way to a college teacher or a high school teacher of a beautiful student of his, and take them to task for causing that person to believe that
Right.
not true. And so he would do voice lesson gift certificates, and we called it "Make a Joyful Noise," you know. So Bob was a World War II vet. He flew the hump. He was a hump pilot in the China, Burma, India theater. Most of those people did not come home. It had the highest fatality rate of any theater in the war. And so that kind of explains who he is. He was pretty much undaunted by anything, and good sense of humor. We've lived in our community here for so many years, so he's well known. A lot of people that know him call him the maestro, and yeah, we had it wasn't boring. It wasn't boring, and I'm a Leo. I'm a
Yeah.
fire sign,
Yeah.
so the two of us could have some vibrant discussions.
How how interesting, because Mona and I met in college in choir, and she
Right.
was the same thing. She was a kindergarten teacher, but she also taught all of the elementary and high school choirs as well. And she taught piano and voice privately, and same thing.
Incredible.
She would not tolerate, she would not hear anyone who thought that they couldn't sing,
No,
or was told they couldn't sing at an early age and believed it. You're right.
exact.
That
That's exactly
got
it. Yeah,
her going as well. Yeah. So I
yeah.
have a feeling that Bob and Mona would have been they'd
Oh,
have been pretty good friends, I think.
it would have been tight. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
they would have
I
gotten
think
along
I
well.
think you're absolutely right on that. People would say in front of Bob, and he was hard of hearing, but they would say, "Oh, he doesn't want me to sing," and I said, "You don't want to say that in full voice because there are 3 lectures. The shortest one is 14 minutes."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but I can't. Not in this house. You don't get to say that unless you want the lecture.
Yeah.
And
Right, that's right. That's right.
so,
One of the things that we talked about in our presentation back in February of 2024 was um, what made our relationships unique. And I think when I look
mm,
around today and I see so many marriages that are faltering, so many marriages that are in trouble, and I think that for me and Mona, we were married almost 47 years. And in fact, we got married in between semesters in college. Um, and I think for us, what made it unique was that that we were best friends, and that I was talking with my daughter over the weekend about her mom, and I said, I don't know that our marriage was one in a million, but I'll bet it was one in 1,000. You know, I mean, there weren't too many like it, and so that brings us back to this next part of the discussion. There is power in recollection, isn't there? That's what we were talking about.
so much power and recollection. It brings you back to a time that is may feel long gone and covered up with so many other experiences. I remember with my beloved Bob, it took me probably close to 6 months, not kidding, to remember that there was a time when he could walk.
Yeah.
And my dear friends that knew and loved Bob as I did, kind of coached me through that. And we went through pictures, and there's Bob and I at Brooks Lake tent camping. She had to
Yeah.
walk there, but he was not mobile for so long that it took me a long time to remember that. But then when I remembered that, talk about powerful and healing and recollecting. Yeah, lots of power in that because things become distorted on this end of life journey,
Wow.
I believe.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to say, yes, that's really easy to fall into we were talking about in part one, we were talking about what was the phrase you used?
myopic,
Yeah, it's tunnel vision that all you can
tunnel
see is
vision.
right here, what's in front of you, and right here, right now. And
Right.
um,
Yeah.
and so while she fought Alzheimer's for 15 years, like I said, we were married almost 47. Man, that was 30 to 35 golden years, in there. And that's
Right.
that's what I have to go back and remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I both commented to one another after the presentation that we both strolled down memory lane when we were preparing for that
Mhm.
presentation. Personally, we both did that. And that's our hope for the folks that want to go back and watch that from this presentation.
And really, part one was kind of a word of encouragement. The fact that
Oh,
if you are a care partner, you really are doing better than what you think you are. I mean, we
absolutely.
we run
Yeah.
into that all the time,
And I
and
made that comment and I'll reiterate it. It's almost impossible for any of us to be objective about ourselves. So we're
yes.
subjective, and that's where the criticisms come from. I could have, should have. I can't believe I raised my voice. That was horrible. I'd never, that's why I always use that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, you know, that was yesterday and begin today
Mhm.
fresh and new and don't waste time looking in the rearview mirror. I don't think he said that, but I say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Being a care partner, I think what it is reactive. You're always reacting to something that you haven't prepared for, and as a result of that, you think that you're not doing a good job. You think you should
right,
have been able to anticipate what was going to happen when there's no way
right.
that that's possible.
Well, even a Ouija board doesn't help you. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
right. Yeah.
and also expecting the unexpected puts us often in a state of hypervigilance, and that burns energy to be
Hmm.
in that state. I fully understand it. I experience it myself a lot, but it's good to recognize that so we can pull it back a little bit when we're able.
Absolutely. We could talk about Bob and Mona for a very long time, but
We
time is
sure could.
something that we have run out of. But I want to close with a quote that you and I really liked.
Mm,
It was included in the presentation that we made, and that is
yeah,
a quote from Richard Bach, and he said, "True love stories never have endings." And I like that a lot because I think
beautiful.
that helps us concentrate on the positive.
Exactly. And it continues after our loved ones are gone. We continue to be in relationship with them. I believe that every
Mhm.
single day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah,
My friend, we could do this for a long time, but we
I
have,
know.
as I said, run out of time. Carol Taylor has been our guest. She is a licensed clinical social worker from Jackson, Wyoming, and a good buddy of mine. And
Good buddy.
thanks so much for being with us today, Carol.
Thank you, dear one. Thanks.
You've been watching once again a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. We hope if you haven't done so already that you'll subscribe to the channel and hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new video. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Scott Veach. We'll see you again next time.